Get back to work, you slacker.
And we're back. We're here for another evening of good conversation and some fun times on Late Night with Cranky and Friends. I am the Cranky Canuck. I am joined tonight by my good friends, the Red Mage in the center spot there. And to his right, or to his left, depending on which way you're looking at this, is Dr. DeGaulle. How are you gentlemen tonight?
Outstanding.
Yes?
Pretty much.
Yeah,
that about sums it up.
So, did you manage to kind of grab that new opening to the show?
I did. I like it very much.
Yeah. I worked hard on that this afternoon, you know. It took me quite a bit of, pulling from here and pulling from there and getting it in. But, yeah, it's, but while I'm thinking of it, I got to get this shit up right. We'll get some music going in the background for the folks to listen to. Actually, no, we're not, because I before we even get into any of the great things we're going to talk about tonight, I am taking a minute to share one of the trailer for a movie I've been waiting for quite a while. And if you guys don't know what it is, you will very shortly, because Mad Max is coming.
My world is fire and blood.
Everybody's gone out of their mind.
Out here, everything hurts. Now pick up what you can and run.
I love it.
What's your name?
And that, folks, is the newest international trailer for Mad Max.
Nice.
Now, who isn't excited, finally excited about this movie? Because I know when rumor came that it was going to be rebooted or reimagined or whatever the fuck they want to call it, my first reaction was, oh fuck, no, not again. Like, how do you replace that pivotal character with a new actor, right?
I think they nailed it.
I think this is going to be so fucking awesome. It's insane.
It does look very cool. It's that perfect mix of like Borderlands 2 and like Burning Man that you need to make something look interesting as well as make it gritty enough, because Mad Max was gritty.
Oh,
very
yeah.
much so.
Oh, yeah.
Very gory, very bloody, very decapitation heavy.
Well,
as long as they stick to the formula.
The first one was like, the original Mad Max. It was as nasty as you can get. They kind of tamed it as they went through the progression of the sequels. So I'm really glad to see that, like Tom Hardy looks like he's gonna rock this role. And all the hardship they went through in Australia to do this movie is worth it. So yeah, I'm really freaking excited about it. I can't wait. I can't wait. Now, I think this one here, this was a sort of a toss-up from yesterday. We cover a lot of subjects here, and one of the ones we do cover is basically online harassment or bullying or whatever you want to call it. But apparently, I guess, and you've played this game, I know you've kind of invested some money into this one, DeGaulle, is the free-to-play MMO War Thunder. Now, apparently they are getting a humongous amount of flack over the fact that they are turning around and they are now charging for the flag decals that were previously free. Their reason being is this will make it harder for people to harass other people in the game.
Yeah, it is definitely the most expensive free game I have ever played, that's for sure. And they like to charge an arm and a leg for just about everything. And to unlock one tier of plane, you're looking at a good maybe, all 5 tiers of one faction, maybe $1,200. So this game and Gaijin specifically love charging for the little things. And this is kind of a natural progression of that. They say that people are trolling with swastikas on their planes. They're trolling with things that wouldn't be periodically or accurate to the period, like flying around with a Mexican flag on your wing on a Fokker. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So instead of just nixing the flags, they decided, well, we can charge for these and we can squeeze just a little bit more money out of people, as if people won't spend the extra few dollars to put a swastika on their plane.
Yeah, no,
but I don't see the big deal, honestly. I don't see what they're getting worked up about. If it was that much of a problem, they should just remove the damn flags.
What was it before? I'm just trying to find the spot here. We have seen in some cases that people are using these flags in inappropriate ways. Those ways include images and symbols of Nazism that are prohibited in many European countries.
In a World War II game, by the way, just to throw that out there.
But now, he did raise the point, and here's where I'm getting confused, is that, okay, it's fine in North America for, to have the swastika in a game. It's cool. You can even show it in movies. But in Europe, no. It's against the law.
It is a hate icon or something.
Yeah.
I forget how they classify it.
But, so, obviously in the European version of the game, there would be no swastikas. But what they're saying is people are manipulating the flags and the decorations to create replicas of a sort of these type of hateful symbols.
Same thing in like Battlefield and really Battlefield mainly, where you can manipulate your icon to be, a dick or something. I mean, whatever you want. People use that and troll with it. But it's plastered on a plane that's flying in the air that not that many people are seeing. I mean, at most in an arcade game, you're within visual line of sight of a handful of people, probably less. So it just seems like a real non-issue and something that is an easy way to avoid people getting pissed at you. But instead, they chose to charge.
Thank you for that reminder, Karida. Now, they did post an update. I want to clarify that there are no Nazi symbols in the game, of course, he wrote. But some players use the creative combination of existing decals and flags to create offensive imageries. There is a reporting mechanism in the game, and anyone can report the offending player. And we take measures, of course. We believe that the fear of a ban of several days greatly outweighs the desire to offend other people, especially now that you have to spend some money to abuse the flags. Many players don't want to pay for anything, much less for something that doesn't give a bonus. So we think charging for flags will be a very effective measure. And you know what? I call fucking bullshit on that.
It sounds like a bunch of bullshit.
Like, I was one of those things where I was reading this, I'm like, wait, they start charging for it? They're going to do it anyways regardless, so now you're just making money off of it. But like it's I don't understand why people would get offended. Now, again, I tried to look up the examples, and it puts me to a Wikipedia page about a part of the SS that I think it was like the British Freedom Corps or something like that. So they're kind of like, they were British who defected to the SS. I'm like, wait, that happened? But I don't see what's offensive about that, if that's the example they're giving. It's part of history. The swastika was misused, yes, but it was still there. It's still historical fact. So, and it's a decal of a plane. It's nowhere near as bad as like Black Ops 2 with the decals where you're literally seeing the depiction of someone ramming a woman up the rear end. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot worse, definitely there, because you have a lot more freedom to make a more offensive logo with the tools in like Call of Duty or Battlefield. I mean, Battlefield, you could just copy paste some kind of markup. I don't know if it was CSS or whatever, but you could just paste some kind of markup and it would generate a symbol for you. And some of the pre-generated ones on the website were swastikas, Hitler's face. I mean, that's kids and that's gaming. And War Thunder is definitely a game that attracts a younger audience, no question. At least in the arcade side of things, the realistic side of things, and the simulator side of things, not as much. But I don't know. I think that's just par for the course. Seems like a silly thing to be upset about.
I agree, and I think as we talked about last night about the race and gender of the visible minorities of the NPCs in games. And I made the point last night that I think, we are getting, as gamers, we're having to deal with a very oversensitive, wider society that's affecting our ability to enjoy what we're playing. Another one that came up today is, I'm not even sure where to go with this one. The title is How to Make Video Games for Girls. Developers, publishers, and marketing professionals take heed. Okay? Now, the very fact that we have to address a post like that with that kind of wordage is just, it's mind-numbingly depressing stupidity. But,
it does imply that there's a problem.
Yes, it does. Now, to be fair, that's a clickbait headline. And everybody knows how I feel about clickbait headlines. I fucking hate these things. The actual article itself, and I'll post it in chat so you guys can, check it out for yourselves. The writer is basically going at it saying, look, stop worrying so much. Like the very first one he says is, don't be so worried about it. Make the game you were going to make. Step one is simple. Instead of scrapping and re-envisioning the game you were going to make so that it caters to the female gender, leave everything as you have it. Well, that kind of seems like logical, doesn't it?
It does. Whatever you envision the game to be as a developer, stick to it. As we've seen through history, when people start weighing in on ideas, especially creative ideas like this, it kind of muddies up the end result. And I'm definitely a fan of kind of leaving the developer to their own devices and their team to their own devices to see what they come up with. And I don't know, going out of the way to appease this argument it's just so it's like it's a very trendy thing right now,
Oh yeah.
And it's a very easy thing to cash in on if they want. And I hope this kind of just passes over and goes away.
Well, see, the thing is that like as gamers, we know that girls and women and, old ladies have been playing fucking video games for as long as video games have been around. Maybe more so now than maybe in the past. But the fact is they are a growing demographic within the gaming world. And do we, Cred is in the audience. She can chuck in on this one as well. Do we really need to change our games to suit a certain gender?
It's not like they haven't done it before either. Like how many Barbie games are out there, which, as far as I'm concerned, without even needing to play them, are all terrible. Like there's no substance to them. It's just, let's make something for girls and make it pretty and pink and like, why? I've got plenty of girls I know who play video games. Are some even more hardcore than I am about certain ones, and we've got the co-hosts like Cried and Haas and Ginger that can prove that fact.
Sure.
They don't need a girl-focused video game.
You need a good video game.
I mean, yeah, if you're gonna make a pretty in pink game aimed for women or probably girls, then make that. Do that, but don't make a game or make changes to the game for the sake of appeasing a trendy, just piss in the wind kind of argument that is going to come and go.
Here's the thing, too. When it comes to games where you can choose a gender, what is the one that most men gamers choose?
Switch to female.
That's right.
Of course.
Half
I'm
of my
going to
WoW
have to stare at an
characters
ass. It might as well be a female.
half my WoW characters are female, and I've just started a Skyrim character just for streaming purposes, and woman. What's the big deal? Like, the option's there, why not? Mix it up.
So, okay, their next one is include female characters, period. So you have this great idea for a game about shooting bad guys in the face. Congratulations. Girls would play that. I'm sure they would. I'm sure there's many men they would like to shoot in the face. The next step takes a little more creative effort, but shouldn't be too difficult. Put in some female characters.
Why not?
That's a good... See, that's one... what is it? I'm not sure exactly... I can't name games right off the top of my head. But there are a large majority of the games that are out there that the only female characters you really have are just NPCs sort of wandering around as background color. Make that world, if you're going to try and recreate a world for us to play in, then yeah, you need men and women, you need, children, you need animals, be equal across the board. Not every person you want to shoot is going to be a man. I know a few ex-wives that I would have liked to have just smacked around. But, that's besides the point.
That's for a different stream.
Yeah, that's for a different stream. That's for a different, But, so, what do you think? Would that sort of maybe alleviate some of this, prissy-ass public, political correctness of getting more female games?
Sure. I mean, make it a female main character. Who cares? Make it a male character, a female. I'm not looking for that in a game. I'll be honest. And if there are any developers listening, for the love of God, it doesn't matter. Focus on the game, not the sex of the character. I don't care if it's male or female or transsexual or dark devil. It is all unimportant. You know what I mean? It's all about the gameplay.
Oh, shots fired.
Now, equally important, though, and he goes on to say that if you're going to have female characters, treat them like human beings. Like, not every female is going to be a hooker. Not every female is going to be a bag lady. Make them equal level characters with your main male characters. That would strike me as being kind of a reasonable assumption of what a developer or a game dev should be thinking about, right?
Makes sense.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Is some of the NPCs, you look at your Grand Theft Auto series, yeah, you're going to have the streetwalkers and all that kind of thing, but there are many more games that will have female characters that are equivalent or a stronger character than even the protagonist. So it's one of these kind of false arguments, because people are like, well, the females are always mistreated or put as this kind of bad gender role. I'm like, okay, well, what about Samus Aran as Lara Croft? Like, what about all these strong female lead characters?
Yeah.
Let alone the NPCs. It just kind of get forgotten about.
I think part of the problem here is that people looking at the gaming industry are trying to fit what's going on into their own preconceived notions. They think that all games are just for male to testosterone little kids sitting in the basement. Do they,
though? I mean, these cons are proving time and time again that this is not just a male-dominated industry.
No.
I don't know if any developer who's paying attention to that can really think that gamers really believe that.
What I'm referring to are these people making these commentaries, these social commentaries about the world of gaming and what needs to change. The ones that are saying we need more women in gaming. We need more, racial equality in gaming. Right? What I'm finding through all this shit is cherry-picked games. Like that video we showed last night. You couldn't be more of a cherry picker than if you lived down south.
Yeah, and the one thing I didn't even think about last night to say is, look at the Warcraft series as not just WoW, but go back. You've got the humans were the British typical white men. Trolls were perceived as like the Jamaicans. Dwarves are the Scots. Like they all had this kind of
It's amazing.
inspiration for the culture of the race. There wasn't really any uproar about that. Warcraft 2, Warcraft 3, nothing. It's all when we get a lot of these social justice warriors that this starts becoming an issue, where it never was one. Like I don't know. It's crazy.
Okay, now one area where I think maybe something could be changed, and that is the way that the female characters are dressed, or even proportioned. Because you gotta admit, some of these ones that are coming out of some of these games, their proportions are just a little too perfect. And
I mean, that's
a little. Yeah, yes, I understand. We're men. I'm sorry. But the fact is that do the female characters need to be so Playboy perfect? Do they need to be dressed in like skimpy clothing that you wouldn't even wear in public unless you're going to a con?
I think it kind of depends on the situation and the character, what the character calls for. In a Leisure Suit Larry game, yes.
Yes.
In Honey Pop, yes.
Okay.
But like the article mentions, in The Last of Us, no. She was wearing hoodies and jeans
Yep.
and tennis shoes. I mean, it's if the character calls for it, then that's kind of what the character is going to be wearing. As for their proportions, wasn't one of these like modeled off of Ellen Page or something? Was that The Last of Us?
Yeah, that was Last of Us. Or was yeah.
I don't know. It just kind of comes down to the character, and if they're treated, respectfully and treated seriously as a character, I think they're more apt to be more lifelike, you might say, than like a dead or alive beach volleyball character.
Yeah, and there, God knows how many RPGs or similar games or say, here's your plate chest piece. Like this tiny little, just enough to cover the breasts, and then midriff is all open so that you can get your gut stabbed out. Like, it's not
Guild Wars
practical
was
either.
terrible about that. Guild Wars 2, you'd be looking at a set of armor in the cosmetic store, and I would get it, and it would look one way on a male character, and then like Sev would get it on his female character, and it was like torn to tatters. And I don't understand exactly how that happened or who took the scissors to it, but it can be definitely taken overboard.
See, that's not just strictly with gaming. You see a lot of that in comics. Look at a lot of your female superheroes in comics. They are wearing some impossibly fucking, next to nothing, costumes that don't protect shit.
Kind of makes sense. I mean, they are superhuman in a way. Like, they're supposed to be supernaturally in shape and crime-fighting suitable.
Yeah, but then why? Yeah, but
hand.
why is Superman in a full bodysuit and like Supergirl's got his skirt up, halfway up her crotch?
Because he would look ridiculous in a Speedo. And in fact, no, they tried, and they put him in the red part is basically Speedo. And then they figured, well, we might as well just give him a bodysuit because a dude in a Speedo doesn't exactly look heroic.
But a girl in a miniskirt does.
Absolutely.
Heroic
I mean,
life.
it is obvious gender bias. I mean,
Yeah.
Yes. Like I said, we're all men here, so we do have some of our own personal preferences and biases, but I think when it comes to the games we play, we really don't give a fuck.
No, not at all.
And I'm seriously question whether a large percentage of gamers give as much of a shit about this as the people making the commentary about what we do and what we play. I don't see it. I don't see it.
A lot of them don't come off as gamers. I will say that. In a lot of these articles, I like to see who wrote it.
Yes.
And see like what other articles they wrote about it. And it's not very often that I find that they've written other articles about video games. It's kind of a general thought piece, and this one was as well. It just seemed like a kind of a general thought piece about,
but
the state of sexism in video games or whatever.
But at least this author was coming at it from a gamer's side.
Mm-hmm.
Which right now is kind of unusual because everybody wants to be taking pot shots at the gamers, whether it be, the games we're playing, the characters in the games we play, or you name it. Everybody wants to take a pot shot at us, so it gets a little tiring after a while. So it was kind of refreshing to see this one. We also talk quite a bit about, with when it comes to like esports and things like that, with the whole price fixing and game match fixing, the betting and the gambling. A new one out today. Like it seems like every other day there's a new. I don't want to call it a scandal because I don't think it quite rates up to that. But Hearthstone team is investigating accusations over a player's identity. This is boiling out of some shit that happened on Reddit. God bless us, Reddit. Saw a lengthy post on r/Hearthstone, since removed by the mods, by Eric Specialist Lee. Now it should be noticed that Lee has been suspended by Blizzard in the past for win trading, in which he accuses Team Tempo Storm South Korea-based player Hyrim Magic Army Lee of not being who she claims to be, or more specifically, of being two people.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, so there's two different situations, one of which I see as almost more tolerable than the other. One is if it's somebody pretending to be a chick or something on the internet, not uncommon. Who cares? Who gives a fuck? But the being two people thing, that is most certainly a competitive edge, or can be. And in which case, it's a completely different story, and is almost the consequences are treated as such. But
shortly after all this blew up, Keaton Chalky Gill, a Hearthstone pro on Team
Dignitas,
tweeted a link to an Immigrant album which purportedly showed, again, it must be noted circumstantially, that the Magic Army identity across various online channels, including Skype, Facebook, Steam, is owned by, or at least shared with, a Canadian man living in South Korea. According to, I know, we're pricks, we're all over the place. According to this Daily Dot piece, which outlines the connection in detail, Lee and the man dated. In response, she is quoted saying, "We shared the same ID name on a website where we met." Now, the response from the team, all right, despite the lack of concrete evidence of wrongdoing, her team has felt compelled to respond. "We will do a full investigation on these accusations and report back once we have a definitive, conclusive evidence," wrote Dan Frodan Chu, VP of Operations at Tempo Storm. Said that while it may look circumstantially...
Sympathy. I don't need your fucking sympathy, man. I need my fucking job.
Thank you for the donation, True Pimpin'. We support Amy as we believe people are innocent until proven guilty. She's been a valuable member of the team thus far and done everything we have asked of her. Subsequently, the team's founder and owner, Audrey Renad Yanuk, tweeted, "Can't stream until we get the Amy things cleared up, unfortunately, since it's all questions and cancer. Should have it sorted out in a day." So basically, one man has made an accusation. He's taken out a complete team out of action until an investigation is done. And it's all based on circumstantial shit.
Yeah. So I think so. Am I understanding this correctly in that he's accusing this girl who shared an identity with a man that she met on a website who they ended up dating, who happens to also play Hearthstone? and they might be playing the same account.
Yeah,
That's
what the gist of this seems to be.
That one line there, we've shared the same ID name on a website where we met. Was it Magic Gamey 1 and 2? Or was it... Because any website where you have to register a username, it has to be unique. So either they shared an account...
I think they shared an account.
Or, yeah, because it's not... They said the same ID name, not the same account. And that's why I was kind of suspicious of that line in particular, but I think this is one of these things that I'm just going to sit back, grab some popcorn, and watch what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like if you can just have her stream with a webcam, like looking over her shoulder, so you can see her and then her mouse or her hands, her typing on the keyboard, and then her monitor. That would kind of clear things up. But I see later in the article they mentioned some hesitance to her presenting a visa or a passport or any kind of like identification. So there's clearly something up there.
Yeah.
With the two of them, and I'm curious to see how that pans out. Like you said, just grab the popcorn. It's more Hearthstone drama. We just eat this shit up.
Is that the new sort of slightly entertainment we have now as a result of esports? Is to, you know, the secondary arena is the cheating and the gambling and the like, we're all just sort of sitting around watching all these people do all this shit that they shouldn't be doing and laughing about it, and nothing will really change.
It's
awesome.
An unfortunate side effect, because I personally would love to see this not be a thing at all. You know, like I don't believe in cheating, hacking, or like. This is also misrepresenting yourself too, because if you're just the face and someone else is the hands underneath the puppet's rear end, like, who's the real player? You know, it's the guy who's actually doing the work and not this girl. So I don't know. It's
another interesting angle. Yeah, it's like why would this guy be interested in I think the term is smurfing, but smurfing as a female. In fact, that's probably not the term. That's probably something very different. But pretending to be a girl, and why he would want to in competitive Hearthstone, I wonder if it gives you some kind of advantage, maybe a one-up in team selection, just like a college would when they come to choosing applicants.
Yeah, no.
For whatever reason, they must have felt that this was necessary. But this is great because it's just as scandal-ridden as professional sports, except we get to see all of this unfold on the internet in full view of the public. Everything that happens is dissected and picked apart by these people and put on websites for our entertainment. And for me, that beats the hell out of pro sports.
Oh, God. One of the probably the most pumped up games lately, and it was only coming to the PlayStation, the PSN, PS4, was the Order. The Order 1886. Everything I read in the last couple of months leading up to this was how great this game was going to be. How it was going to be an absolutely gorgeous game to play. And then last week, I think it was, someone posted about a speed run they did through the game that literally took them only 5.5 hours to do. And they basically said the game can be done in 5.5 hours. To which the developers didn't say anything at first. They just kept mum. Then a couple days later, they came out and they said, you're wrong. It's going to be like 8.5, 9, maybe 12 hours, depending on how you
for an
play.
average player. Yeah. I mean, a speedrunner obviously is going to finish it sooner. That doesn't necessarily bother me so much as the game just sucking.
Yeah, but here's the thing: the developers they've actually gone to the press, okay, where they did an interview with Develop and Game director Dana Jan and technology director Garrett Foster were asked about their thoughts about the game's length, and Jan responded with the following. It's really strange dilemma in video games right now, and I don't think you can have a discussion of quantity without quality. I guess I think about it like this. If you go and you eat a steak, if you pay $100 for a steak that tastes like the best steak you've ever had in your life, but it's only 200 grams, versus paying the same price for the worst steak you could want, but it's all you can eat. There's an argument to be made that one is better than the other depending on who you are. If you just want to be full, then all you can eat is terrible steak. Maybe that's for you. I'm not saying that to be polarizing. I'm just asking, why do we feel that we have to always measure things first and foremost in terms of quantity? Which is why, for our game, we targeted a very good length for the game, but it wasn't our priority. It was not something people are going to think is short. A lot of what we are hearing about the case is a case of either being irresponsible or inaccurately reported, or putting the game on easy and skipping through and speed running through the game.
It's all a fair point if your game doesn't suck. That's the thing. Like, that argument works if you have a quality product that doesn't have, that has a story and has character development and proper gameplay and environment and all the things that make a game great. But when your game is kind of a mediocre pile and it's short, it's going to be it's like a Titanfall situation where we're going to see this game on sale within a matter of a month.
But now they're calling the response to the game so far haterade. We have this uncanny haterade for our game no matter what. People are looking for something to throw at our game, some reason to hate it. I'm excited to hear what people who have actually played the game think about it, how they feel about the quality and the quantity. I think by and large that most people are going to be left satisfied. You know what?
Good.
They're not.
No, the reviews are out. Guess what?
Oh,
That's not the case.
The reviews are
Turns out
coming
the game is bad.
fast and furious.
Yeah,
That's
I
one of the
even
things
looked at it. I looked at it. The reviews are all over the map, but predominantly negative.
What was
It
it?
is pretty overwhelmingly negative, which is kind of telling. I mean, it's definitely easy to find somebody reporting and take these reviews too seriously, and you got to kind of take into account the reviewer's taste. But seeing that many negative reviews, that overwhelming of a negative response, it's just not.
Well,
it's not
what was it? The one that was showed up on Game Revolution, and I'll throw the link in chat so people can see it. The title is This is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever read. And basically, what he is doing, he took I don't know what post or review he got this from, but he highlighted this word.
It was one of the article.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, of the order. My bad.
Okay. Is the game worth the asking price? Yes, but only if you sell it afterwards immediately, at least getting half of what you paid for. And this guy goes goes off. He says, "Holy freaking gods, I don't even know where to begin here. Yes, but only if you sell it afterwards." The fuck is that? If you're gonna include the suggested retail price in your review, then okay, whatever. That's your thing. Do what you do. But only if you sell it right after? Are you reviewing a fucking video game, or are you writing a life advice column?
He did go off. So this particular writer, he had linked his earlier review where he went off in a tirade about how mentioning the prices, the price of a video game should not be taken into account by the reviewer. That you should review the game as it stands, regardless of how much it cost. Yeah. Because to everybody, the term expensive means something entirely different, and there's a different number associated to it, which is why. Like Kotaku, for example, has adopted just a simple should you play this game?
Yeah.
Not should you buy it, but should you play it? However you can make that happen. If you want to buy it now or you want to buy it when it's on sale, fine. Which I do think is a very fair point. And so knowing that that's his view on that, this I think makes a lot of sense in the sense that like who cares?
Yeah.
You know,
Like-
because these games fluctuate in price so drastically. You know, you can't. So if you take into account the fact that the order, for instance, is $60 and it sucks at $60, well then how is it at $5 when it's on PlayStation sale or whatever, you know, their equivalent of their sales is? So
Yeah, and PC Gamer Magazine has been doing it for years, where they will write the review, they'll give you a good, the bad, the ugly, and a percentage score. And there's no mention of the cost. It's all about here's the good of what's good about the game, what isn't, and like a final verdict, whether it's worth playing or if it's not worth playing for everybody, like, you know, a 90 to 100% game, who would it best fit? And you know what? I agree with this guy, because putting the price into consideration is really a terrible idea, because there are some games that are $5-10 that would outdo a lot of these AAA titles in terms of gameplay.
Okay, for example, take Don't Starve. You're looking at a $20 game. Okay? Put that up against, let's say, Call of Duty version 2025 that's on for $60. Which is a better bang for your buck? Which gives you the more, which has more gameplay time available in it? Which has more care about the gamer built into it? You know, you can't use a dollar figure as a judgment of how good a game is. That's just plain fucking stupid, right?
Exactly.
And it's like the Gall said, for all we know, the order, it's out there for $49.95 or $59.95 right now. Next week, it could be $29.95 on sale. So, no, the price does not matter. The only time it does matter is whether or not you can actually afford to buy the game once you decide to. Now, I do like Kotaku's graphic they've got now. It's very simple. Should you play this game? And they say no.
it's a dreary, joyless lump of a game. That's so great.
Yeah.
It's occasionally nice to look at.
Yeah, the story is a mess. Combat is bland and repetitive. The cinematic effects are a distraction, and the whole thing is hopelessly infused with QTE. So, save your money, guys. If you're on the PlayStation 4, don't waste your money, because this one...
It's unfortunate. They ruined an awesome setting for a game that was unique, that was very, very... it was very something that I know I was looking forward to, just to see what they would make of the story. And because I love Dishonored and that same kind of...
That's
not really steampunk.
Well,
it's kind of, I don't know what you call that, because it's like more historically accurate, but like has a steampunk flair. So I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, I think it's a beautiful setting. And the fact that they made it all like sooty and drab just looks really interesting.
Well, see,
but they ruined it.
Here's the thing. Again, we come up against the hype machines that build these games up. And, you know, it's almost like, it's the same way I look at movies. If I see 20 trailers before a movie hits a theater, I ain't going near the movie, because it's guaranteed to suck. If I'm going to see the amount of press that was out about the order before it launched, I'm kind of a little worried. You know, you got to stop. If they have to push that hard to sell their game, they got to be worried about something. If the game cannot sell on its own merits, if you got to push the PR machine and the marketing machine, like whip them like bad dogs that they are to get people excited, then you've got a problem with your game. And that's what I saw happening with The Order, because it started a good 3 or 4 months ago with the screenshots and the conversation with the developers and this and a few of the gameplay, very select, very good-looking gameplays.
And Empty Vials actually brings up a good point that I've been thinking for years. Whatever happened to game demos?
Really.
Try before you buy. Like, that's the one thing that kind of deters me nowadays, because I remember I used to get PC Gamer every month, no subscription, just went and bought it, and 9 times out of 10, it was for the CD that had the demos on it.
The reason,
Absolutely.
the
Me
reason,
too.
yeah, but the reason demos got killed off is because the gaming industry basically shot themselves in the fucking foot.
Well,
Because
I don't think they have enough faith in their products to
well,
release a
yeah, but
demo.
it's not just that. There was a large number of AAAs that were launched demos for their games, and when the games actually released, were hardly at all like the demos. Or the demos weren't like when you think of a demo, you think you're going to be able to at least play one level complete of the game.
Yeah.
Right? No restrictions. Maybe the second level might have a few restrictions just to ease you on, and that's your demo. But a lot of times what demos were happening was the demo itself from the very beginning was restricted. And people were going, why the fuck am I spending my time downloading this piece of shit when I'm not even getting a true representation of the game? And they got pissed. So the developer said, okay, fine, we won't do demos. The one exception to that being, and I know Karida has been playing it like mad, is the Elite Dangerous demo. She's having a blast with it. So yeah, demos, unless the industry changes its attitude towards demos and treats it like the valuable tool, and that's just what it is. It's a valuable tool to encourage people to try the game and then go, yes, I like what I see so far. I'm willing to cough up the money for the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, it's definitely a risk, because I mean, if the demo sucks, it's going to tank sales for your entire title. I mean, you can't recover from something like that. So it's a huge risk.
And there's the opposite argument where if the demo is amazing and it's only one level, maybe that's the only polished level in the entire game, and the rest is steaming dog poop.
Yeah.
So I can see where that side of things goes, but as a consumer level, it's sometimes being able to get hands on, and this is why Twitch is amazing for this now, because you can get a feel for the game. Like we were watching Dizzy Disaster earlier, and I've started man, I got Tropico 3 on my Steam. I'm gonna load that back up because I only gave it 15 minutes before and hated it, and I played for 2 hours. So Twitch is kind of like the saving grace for where demos used to be that thing.
But you see, the thing is, where demos came out of was the shareware market.
Yep.
Okay? Because, I remember when Commander Keen and Doom was originally launched, you could buy the shareware version.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And basically it was free, but if you liked it, you mailed in your $15 and you got a...
You mailed money and you got a package.
Yeah, you got a package
So
with the whole game.
Mm-hmm. And the user manual and sometimes an art book.
Yep.
All kinds of fun stuff.
That was shareware back then. And there were variations of there was Nagware or whatever, but the demos came out of the the whole shareware way of doing business. And now and like you said, Red, I think that Twitch is taking that place of the demos. The only problem is I still think demos could have a very valuable place. And the person asked is like Karida. She could watch YouTube videos of Elite Dangerous or watch it being played on Twitch, but she still wants to be able to play that demo to be able to get the hands on. Because sometimes you can look at a game. You can watch somebody playing a game. You can watch a video of a game. You can read about it. But it's not the same thing as getting actual hands-on and knowing if you can actually play the game.
And especially with a really graphically and CPU heavy game like that, it's good to see if it can even run on your system.
Now that's the other problem that they had with demos. Right? They made them less hard on your machines.
Exactly. I think I ran into a couple that over the years where I buy it and it's a laggy piece of crap. There's barely any frame rate FPS to it. So I can't remember which one I had that just would not work.
Yeah.
Period. Mm-hmm. And I just said, you know what? I'll wait till I get my computer upgraded. There's probably 386 errors though.
Yeah. Do you guys remember back again about a month ago, just before when we were actually it was one of the first stories we covered when we started Late Night with Cranky, was the fact that there was a rare PS4 anniversary edition console being auctioned off in Japan, and it went for the insane price of $129,000. Okay. Word is that the winning bidder has backed out.
Good.
Okay.
They realized that they could give that to a charity.
Well,
they could buy a new car.
I'm betting.
They could get a Russian mail order bride. You could do so much with that money.
I'm betting that Mom wouldn't let him use her credit card. But anyway, no, it's unclear why the bidder, who still remains anonymous, has pulled out. Sony, however, will donate the same amount to the Save the Children Japan charity as planned. The company will also keep the machine, which you can see in the pictures below. The special edition PlayStation 4 was designed to look like the original gray PlayStation and comes with a matching controller. Only 12,300 of the special edition consoles are being produced, and this was the number one. But yeah, so whoever it was, hey, I got this rare PS4, and I'm gonna, it's gonna be worth a lot of money, and suddenly he realizes,
it will never be worth money.
No,
ever. A PS4 will never be worth anything in terms of resale because it's not an original PlayStation. When the PlayStation 5 comes out, nobody's gonna give a flying shit about the PS4, and a rare version of it is just going to be that thing that sits on your shelf that you despise yourself every time you look at it.
Okay, we're going to take we're about a little past the halfway mark. We're going to take a 5-minute break, folks. We'll turn up the music a little bit because we got to get some drinks. If you like the conversation, your first time here, please consider hitting that follow button. It lets us know we're doing something right here, and we will be back in 5.
Hot.
Why is it Dungeon Mans? I mean, that's kind of a weird word, right?
Well, it's not a wrap yet. It's only halfway point. Just take a 5-minute break just to give my voice a chance to not get too cracked up.
Are you playing drums? Who's playing drums?
No, I like the way it is right now. I do. Yeah, no, I like that. I like just that background. It works.
I'm waiting. I'm keen and I was waiting.
Yeah, they can see you.
Oh no, they said we were on pause.
The camera's not on pause.
Well, that's just my roommate. Got home hammered. Damn, girls, they can't get out.
Shh, I don't know if my mic's muted or not. Hey, we're back, everybody. Yeah, the music. Because I don't really want to have to deal with copyright problems. Because just if you look back at our past broadcasts, if you look on our YouTube channel, just every single show got flagged. And so I figured, screw it. I want to be able to have music in the background. So most of the music you hear is coming from ocremix.com. And it's all game remix music. So take it from there, guys. I try and keep it in the spirit. While we're in the spirit, I've got... This is just pure fun. It is, let me see if I can find the, where did it go? Oh yeah, a fan turns Half-Life 2's head crab into a gun-wielding criminal. This is very, very short, but it's just pure fun.
Hey, Dr. Freeman. I've been hoping you'd show up. Got this airboat all gassed up and ready to go. It's gonna be tough dodging civil protection out there in the open, but...
That's awesome.
This was such a nice neighborhood. Too.
It used to be a nice neighborhood before those head crabs.
Yeah. Okay, you can stop now. Jesus Christ, don't keep going. Yeah, I saw that and I just I broke out laughing. It was just hilarious. So yeah, that was just a bit of fun. I'll put the link in chat so you guys can grab it for yourself if you want. Control copy. There we go. There you go. There's the link to the post that has it in it. Grab yourself a YouTube copy and be happy campers. I'm just trying to just so much. One of the things that when it comes to games, and I know as gamers we're always looking for something a little different in the games we play. And in turn, developers are trying to figure out different ways that they can make games.
The whole world gone crazy!
Thank you, Maria.
Everyone around here gives a shit about the rules!
Trying to make a game that is enjoyable, is full-featured, but on smaller and smaller budgets. One of those companies is Ninja Theory, who are basically known primarily for the Disney Origins online game, I think it is. Yeah, Disney Infinity. That's basically their bread and, as they call it, their bread and butter. But they're working on a new one called Hellblade. And they are making some rather interesting sort of design methods that they're reusing a lot of their material, but it's being done in such a way that you cannot tell.
That rug really tied the room together.
Thank you, Jamie. So that like you can have a room full of let's say skeleton monsters that all look different but are all basically just the same base character, whether it be by putting a helmet on one and tattered cloth across another one, or more meat showing or more bone showing on another one, so that it sort of in our brains it registers as something different. This actually looks like a really good game because they're going back to England in the Celtic times for a very rare or very unknown Celtic god that we didn't even know existed until a few years ago. when archaeologists and anthropologists sort of discovered this lesser known Celtic god. What do you think of this method of theirs of reuse, minimize, instead of sending stuff out to be CGI'd and do that, try and do it in-house with the people you've got?
It's definitely, we're in a very DIY kind of time, and why not? I mean, they've got, it sounds like a really great idea, and I love the story behind this, how they discovered that there was a god, but they didn't really know anything about it, and so they're taking that opportunity to make a story around it and then make a game around it, which is just, I mean, that is enough to at least be interested in it and hope for a demo at the very least.
I'll throw the link in chat so you guys can check the story out later if you want, because it is a very interesting story. It's like the Tamin, I can't pronounce his name, but the chief creative officer for Ninja Theory, he said, answering what are the limits of the team we have and what can we create within those limits. I think given that we only have one of everyone on the team, we have to work from a different angle, he tells me. What are the limits of the team that we have? What can we create within those limits? We could have created a game like Enslave or DMC and mapped out all the levels and then gone about building them. But I know that on those teams we had 6 level designers or a half dozen, or if not more, dozen environment artists and animators and effects people. So it takes something like 20 to 30 people to make the environments of our previous games. And here we've only got one person doing that on this game. So if we did it the old way, the standard way, you wouldn't have much of a game there at all. So let's think about this more of a challenge.
Cool.
Do you think that the rise or the growing popularity of the indie games is making more established companies, even mid-range companies like Ninja Theory, do serious reevaluation over how they create games now? Because you got to admit, you've got Don't Starve, which was created by a very small development house in Vancouver. Long Dark, same thing, very small development house. You've got Darkest Dungeon, which is maybe got 6 developers. You've got Folk Tales, which has got 6 or 8 developers around the world, right? And they're all creating incredible games with next to no budgets.
It does. It just seems kind of further proof that money doesn't necessarily make a title, and that oftentimes the most ingenious and creative and like industry-changing titles are those with no budgets. Because if you have a good idea that can be implemented, where you're not having to rely on fancy visuals, fancy CGI, you're not having to rely on booking Kevin Spacey for a few weeks to do your voiceover work.
It costs you a couple $1 million at a shot.
Exactly. Thus, money that otherwise has to be allocated elsewhere in the budget. But instead, spending that more on the game itself instead of the frills is the heart of it, I think, and part of the success that has been indie games, because they've had to find more creative ways around art mainly, art especially, because they can't afford to rent out this to a fancy design studio or get fancy 3D animations. They have to come up with something creative. Like with Don't Starve, it's hand-drawn stuff that's been imported into the game and made just a couple different angles for the same items. There's only like 2 or 3 angles for everything, but it works. And are they having to rethink? I hope so. I hope they're rethinking, and I hope they're might dole these out and let employees who might have brilliant ideas kind of work on their own and maybe brainstorm a little bit. Like back in school, we had I forgot what the teachers called it, but it was like free time where you could do what you wanted to do. If you wanted to draw something, you could draw. If you wanted to play around on the computer, you could do that. And you had like 30 minutes. Well, the same kind of concept where you've got the ability to work on your own projects. I know Valve does that. It's in their employee handbook, how a certain percentage of your time as a Valve employee has to be devoted to a personal project. spend some time on what you want to, and that heart of it that makes indie gaming, I think, is going to lead to some pretty cool titles.
What do you think, Red?
I think you're right. Like, if you look at the cases of, I think Super Meat Boy had, what, 2 developers? Fez started off with 2 and ended up being one guy doing the entire game. And those were 2 games that just took off. And they're more of like a retro 8-bit, 16-bit kind of look. But you have these small development houses, the indie development houses, or even just one person creating these games, and kind of turning the industry on its head a little bit, because again, like I've said before, even last night, it's not always about graphics, it's about gameplay
and the story. Yeah.
And you know what, like, I'm already interested because I love Norse mythology. You know, we're always talking about the Banhammer's Mjolnir in the chat. Like, it's just like the way I like it. But that this is a recent discovery. And I think they're saying this is a Celtic goddess.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
So even better.
Let's just we'll be clear here. Let's We wanted to do a melee game, a sword-based game, and so for that you need an excuse not to have guns. Setting it in a time where there were no guns is the best way to do that. And we didn't really want to do another Asian-themed game like Heavenly Sword, so I was kind of searching for a setting.
Crazy!
Thank you, script.
I'm the only one around here who shit about the rules.
And I thought that Celtic Britain wasn't a subject I'd seen a lot in games, which he's right. The only thing I knew about is Boadicea and a sort of Braveheart, which is grossly confused and inaccurate representation of what the Scottish Celtics were like. I investigated Celtic culture a bit more, and I came across an article on the BBC where they found a new goddess called Sinuna, but it was reported as Sinua. That was interesting because there was no real information about who this person was, and there will never be information about who that person was. It's sad we'll never know, but I thought that's enough room to create a new mythos.
It's just great. It's a great idea.
I love it. Just take the creative license and run with it. Because if they do any kind of research in it, they can tell, what the old mythologies were, and kind of see if this goddess plugs a hole in that. Like just how the Romans and the Greeks had, God of the sun, God of love, God of this, like literally a god for everything under the sun.
Yeah.
To explain the lightning that happened or the rain that comes down. So that alone will pique my interest to keep watch on this now. Like just specific.
Now, on the opposite end of it, we have companies, mobile gaming companies, that are spending $3.5 million or more for a Super Bowl ad with some trumped up supermodel pretending to be a, superhero in a game. What is your feeling on that kind of marketing? Like you've got companies that are willing to spend that much money for 30 seconds in the hopes that they'll get enough eyeballs on to make that money back. Now they probably will, but does that? But that kind of strikes me. You go to some of those sites and you see the fantasy games. Log in here and I'll be my lord type thing. That's what this strikes me as.
I think it is. I think the ad you're talking about, they use Kate Upton.
Yeah.
It's like this, the America's sweetheart right now, and I'll be honest with you. I watched the ad, like kind of after the fact, and I'm like, that game? I don't remember what game it was now because it's to me it's insignificant. I didn't enjoy it when I tried it before that. But the ones that have been catching me are the ones that they're doing for Clash of Clans, where they're using like the in-game characters like 3D modeled, and there's a real sense of humor, like in some way, like a little slapstick. But those, if I played the game, I didn't play the game before, it would make me want to play them because there's that kind of comedic effect to it, and it's memorable. But throwing in like high-paid actors or models or whatever. I don't know. World of Warcraft did it, but I think those people were legitimately people who played the game.
Yeah, I mean those ads were really geared, especially towards WoW players, because I mean they were jokes, they were kind of inside jokes about WoW in those ads, and they did a great job with using a celebrity, but using a celebrity kind of tastefully and making it something that, you know, isn't just like, you know, look at Kate Upton's rack. Now buy this game and buy some DLC. I mean, because honestly, if you're having to do that, it just doesn't say a whole lot of good stuff about the game. And I mean, benefit of the doubt, it's totally possible that marketing department has gone apeshit with Kate Upton, and the developers of the game itself disagree with all of this. But I mean, the likelihood of that is probably pretty nil. But it's a game that's going to come and go. It's meant to cash in on a quick fad, and a quick something kind of trendy that they can make some quick bucks off of. And for that, you know, it's not a whole lot different than most other mobile games nowadays that are pushed on. Like on the media circuit. So it's definitely not very tasteful, and it doesn't advance the culture's view of gamers.
It goes right back to the the conversation we started off with. The fact that basically that game that Kate Upton is the spokesperson for, whether she is or she isn't, was, I'm sorry, that was based around sex sells. And that perpetuates the belief that the only reason gamers buy these games is so they can see her rack. That's the psychology.
I don't even know. I remember reading an article like that. She wasn't even really in the game. It's a game about, there's orcs and trolls and shit in it. You know, you're not fighting as Kate Upton or behind Kate Upton.
Yeah, and it's one of these things where if she legitimately plays the game and actually enjoys it, if and only if, I would be okay with it. Like that's the one thing I don't like in advertising. It's they're just going to grab somebody and get them to sell a product. Like, well, no. Do they use the product? Would they actually endorse the product? Then make the ad. I did a bit of retail work, and I'm not going to go sell someone a $150 coffee maker when I know that the $40 one is going to be the better fit, or it works better than the one that's like 5 times the price. So it could be just a level of dishonesty, or it could be straight honest, and no one really thinks about it that it is because, oh look, they got Kate Upton for a really crappy mobile game. Like, it's hard to say.
Yeah. Now, now we've got bare bones game development with people like Ninja Theory. You've got excessive sex sells, $3.5 million advertising for mobile games. Brings us back to one that we talked about before, and the remastering of games is now big business. Everybody wants to remaster old games, and one of the ones leading the pack is Homeworld, which is from 2K Games, because they bought the IP, and they're remastering 1 and 2. You're going to be able to buy, I think next month or so, the pack with games with the remastered remastered 1 and 2 plus 1 and 2 original for $34.99, which is a fucking great deal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Great.
Now they just released a 4K cinematic trailer for the Homeworld remastered series. This is what it's going to look.
10 and up.
Here we go. Now this is 4K.
It'd be great if I had a 4K TV.
Oh man, I'm having instant recall playing this now. That music.
That's it. I think. Isn't it? Nope. No, I don't think so. I think it. There we go. No, my apologies.
So, as someone who did not play the original Homeworld, what kind of game is it?
It is a space exploration, space sim.
3D RTS.
Yeah.
Is it turn-based?
Nope. Real-time strategy. So think of like at the time, your Command and Conquer and that, but they did it on the 3 dimensions, and
this is the Garden of Kadesh. For 13 generations, we have protected it from the unclean. The tyrannic raiders who came before you refused to join and were punished for this trespass. Like theirs, your ship has already defiled this holy. If you have come to join, we welcome you, and will spare you your ship until all have disembarked. If you have come to consume the garden, you will be removed at once. What are your intentions?
We were unaware of the significance of this location. We mean no conflict. Please allow us time to prepare our engines so that we may withdraw as requested.
If you will not join, then die. There is no withdrawal from the garden.
It's gorgeous.
It is. And that's
amazing.
I like the ship design.
And the crazy thing is, this is not cinematic, from what I can tell, too.
Yeah, it's definitely one I'd be interested in checking out. I like the whole like mysticism angle.
Yeah.
When it comes to sci-fi, like pairing sci-fi and mysticism has always been one of the quick ways to my heart.
Like that's, I have to admit, when I first heard that Homeworld was the studio behind it was basically bankrupt. It was up for auction. It was going away, and there was a fear that whole IP would be gone. And then 2K stepped in and said they bought it. They bought the whole thing because they apparently, prior to that, had gotten the rights to do Homeworld 3. So they figured, we'll grab this. We've got all the IP. We can pull in, stuff from those games into the one we're working on. It's a good deal for everybody. Now, this was happening right around the same time that they fucked up on Duke Nukem. So, like, my instant thought was, oh my fucking Lord, please do not tell me you're going to fuck up Homeworld 1 and 2. And I've been sort of watching this as it goes along, and everything I've seen so far has been rather encouraging that they are maintaining it. And if this is what the quality of a remaster can have, then they're doing it right.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. Like that, I know I showed you this the other night because I still have the Homeworld Cataclysm expansions manual. I don't have the game. It's lost to the mists of time from ages long past. But it was also one of those things. It was a company that I backed quite a lot when I was younger, with Sierra. And like, they made some amazing games. And when I heard that they were doing this, like, I know one of my best friends at the time was huge into it. Like he wrote a sci-fi novel on his own, and it reminded me of between this and Star Wars. But it was one of those kind of game changer moments when Home came out, because all you had was, like I said, Command and Conquer. You had your Warcraft, so you had this kind of 2D plane, isometric view, real-time strategy games. And this is the first one that just said, hey, we're going to give you that, not just the X and Y, we're going to give you the X with the Y, the Z, and everything else. And some people were saying, oh, it's just like Eve. Not quite. Eve is a lot slower pace. It's
February
singular.
25th is when Homeworld 1 and 2 remastered will be available.
Payday.
Yeah,
now it's a debate on controller or Homeworld.
Yeah, apparently Karita says it's $30 on Steam right now, and it goes up to $35 after February 24th when it is released on the 25th.
Oh, I don't want to wait on it.
Yeah, I know. When it comes to games like this, I like you have me here. Like we've had these conversations before. Is there a game that you've played in not the Fire Pass, but many years ago that is no longer a big title or isn't being done anymore, that you would love to see being remastered like this?
Well, I would have said the original Halo, and that's been done, and they did it enough to kind of satisfy my nostalgia, because that game was something that, I remember trudging my Xbox over to my grandmother's, every because we go over there and eat every Sunday, and I'd have to go over there, and I would have to play Halo. I'd have to.
I can't believe it. Someone else that mentioned the name Descent.
Oh yes, I thought someone was making a new one.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, before I forget, I got to pull this in real quick. Give me a second here. Jamie shot me a link today because we talked about Quake before here, quite a lot actually, and apparently there is a Unreal Tournament 4 pre-alpha. They are making another one. Let me just pull it quickly into the joint thing here, and we can take a look at it. Just give me a second here, folks. It's going to take me just a few seconds.
I got a good hour in it earlier today, and it's cool. I mean, it plays just like 2K4.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Let's see if it'll play. Yeah, it played nice. Okay, folks. This is a pre-alpha gameplay for Unreal Tournament 4, and it's going to be free.
2, 1.
Double kill.
Definitely a lot better than I was.
Yeah, I was gonna say he hung on and okay, maybe he's better with a rocket, but not the chain gun.
The chain gun I did notice it was tough. Now, granted, I didn't get a whole lot of kills at all. I got most of them with the flak cannon and the rocket launcher, and it plays just like you can. It's so great. And obviously now we have a lot of stuff that's very untextured, unmodeled. They were missing animation, stuff like that. But like the movement was so fluid, and it took me right back. It's great. So I love it, and the fact that it's going to be free, and not just free, but free with mod support up the waz, like full Steam Workshop integration, like. You'll be able to, or not Steam Workshop, but like custom moddable content. So we'll have custom maps and models and skins, just like the original UT, custom weapons, game types, all that stuff. I mean, some of my favorite games in the history of PC gaming were UT mods. Red Orchestra, off the top of my head, Killing Floor, all started off as UT 2K4 mods.
Now
they're just giving us this engine. It's going to be awesome.
There's the link to the blog for the Unreal Tournament team, and they talk about why they're doing it for free, why they're doing the project to begin with, why it's going to be free. So yeah, if you really want, again, remastering our past and bringing back the good quality. And yeah, Descent, it would blow me away if someone remastered that with modern graphics. Because the gameplay in that was so fucking unique.
Oh yeah, that was a fun one.
There was nothing like it at the time, because you were dealing in X, Y, and Z and double Z axis space. Like it was. Did you ever play that one, DeGaulle?
No.
You never played Descent?
I did not.
Oh fuck!
All right, where's the end call button here?
Yeah. Oh man. If you can ever check YouTube, maybe there'll be some video of it out there. But check it out, man, because there was Doom, there was Duke Nukem, there was Unreal Tournament, there was Quake, there was a couple other ones that were all around the same period, and then there was Descent, and it was sort of off on its own. Yeah. Yeah, no one looked up until you got ambushed a couple dozen times is right. Because you didn't know where your enemy was coming from. They could be above you, they could be below you, they could be on either side, they could be in front and back. You didn't know.
Cool.
So yeah, that is actually one I would love to see remastered.
Well, Karita corrected me earlier in chat that there was a fan project working on recreating like a newer version of Descent, whether it was a remake or like an HD remaster, but they got hit hard with this cease and desist order and had to close it down.
Am I the only one around here who gives a shit about the
So it was almost a thing. Unfortunately, the copyright infringement malarkey came up.
Thank you. Whoa. Someone didn't even show up. Thank you for that last follow. To go sort of switching back to what we were beginning about, with the whole, sexist, racist type shit in games. This one caused me a bit of a head shake, and we'll see where we go with this, but it's want to improve the reputation of gaming and gamers? This is how you start. The headline alone is enough to make you go, what the fuck? The popular perception of games often make it sound like stunted medium with belligerent culture attached, especially compared to the fairly neutral perception of books, films, paintings, and dance. Fixing that impression won't just mean telling people that we're better than that. It means actually being better than that and fostering a constructive gaming culture.
Yeah, once again, this is a problem that I was not aware existed, but apparently it does, and apparently this deserved addressing. While the point itself is kind of silly, they do bring up wanting to get gamers involved in more like community, like LAN events, which I cannot get enthused about enough. Like, that is what hooked me on gaming originally. It was LAN parties with friends, and like anything that brings that back and gets people gaming more together in a LAN setting and not like off the internet is cool. Yeah, but if we have to attach that to something ridiculous, then I guess so be it.
Yeah, but here's the thing. When push comes to shove, charities have benefited more from the gaming culture in the past few years than any other culture that is in need of goodwill. You've got, granted, PewDiePie, he pumps millions of dollars into charities. You've got the speedrunners, they pump millions of dollars into charities. You've got St. Jude's, which raised an incredible amount of money. They weren't, like, the thing is, St. Jude didn't even expect to break maybe $100,000. It blew them out of the water when Twitch raised over $500,000 in a very short period of time.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't that other story about Special Effect doing another 24-hour charity event. I mean, the gamers are definitely charitable people, and that to me is work enough. I mean, that shows anybody who's, I guess, hip with that or whatever sees that gamers are raising mass amounts of money, that as a whole, they are a very generous people. And I love that kind of stuff. And reading stories about that, like, I think does wonders for people's impression of gamers, more so than nagging them because their first impressions are bad or something. I mean,
and to be honest, I took part in Extra Life this past year in October. It was actually my first Twitch stream period, and between October and the end of the year, I personally only raised about $125. I wanted to hit 200 or more minimum. And I think that's the Children's Miracle Hospitals Network. So for me, I went to McMaster because that's our local hospital.
And Creeping Death there, he raised $3,500 with a 24-hour stream for St. Jude's. Rock on, dude. And you got Dizzy, who Dizzy raised what, $15,000. Now, this comes back to my whole point of the gaming culture being cherry picked by the socially perfect people. Fuck you. When you really take the gaming culture that we're all a part of and look at it as a whole, we are the most giving people. We will run a charity at the drop of a hat and do our damnedest to raise to the point where we'll go 24 hours, we'll 36 hours. We don't care if it's for the kids. We'll raise the money. We're not asking for kudos or anything like that. We're doing because we want to. Like, I know that come this year for St. Jude's, I'm going to be doing something through this channel because it's a way to give back. I don't need some social conscious prick out there telling me I've got to be more involved with my community. I know what I got to be involved in. DeGaulle, you know what you've got to be involved in. Redmaid, you know what you've got to be involved. We don't need some asshole out there telling us. And neither does any of the gamers in this channel. This cherry picking is bullshit.
I agree. Like, if you want to look at like the 1% of the gaming culture or the people, and took that as the only example you looked at gamers, we'd all be murderers, we'd all be rapists, we'd all be violent, we'd all be this. Like, you know what? No matter where you go, there's always going to be an exception to the rule, and there's always going to be a bad apple or two. And in our case, you know what? It doesn't actually spoil the whole bunch in our story. And we're all decent human beings. None of us are excessively violent.
Excessively violent.
Excessive, because if I start playing, my friend Giotto popped in earlier. I've had bruises from him playing Smash Brothers together. So this is why. This is also why I like the old style gaming, because you are literally within arm's reach. If they do something stupid to you, just let them have one. But it's all in good fun, and you know what? Gamers have always got a bad rap. Always, whether it's you're so nerdy or you're or this or that, and now it's all over the map. It's like, oh, you're a neckbeard. What? No. Like,
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah,
What's my
like,
neck exactly?
like what the fuck is a neckbeard? Okay, like how is that? Like I shave down there. I got no
I don't know where the
neckbeard.
line is. That means that there's a line, like a particular spot in which there is confirmed neckbeard and anti-neckbeard, and you have to find that line and shave it. But I mean, it is a good point, and they do definitely tend to cherry pick this stuff. And it seems like, you know, every month there's some article that comes up about violence in video games. I mean, there was one just a few shows ago, and we talked about it. But I mean, you know, overall, these positive articles are definitely outweighing the negative ones. That's for sure. And there's more and more charities and events like this that are taking place that I firmly believe are changing people's perception of gamers. And you know, I think the whole basement dweller thing is kind of being phased out. That's no longer the stereotype.
See, the thing is, it's not just changing perception in our the people within our own circles, and and the ripple effect out from there. It's also changing the perception of people within organizations, and St. Jude's is a good example of that. Like I said, when they first started off their St. Jude Plays Live events, they didn't expect to make anything more than maybe $200,000, if that. Right? They just didn't see it. And then all of a sudden, you've got streamers that are turning up with $10 and $20 and $30 and $50,000, $100,000 checks to give to them. And it's like, what? How are you guys doing this? And now the streamers that have been involved in the St. Jude thing are being treated like gold by St. Jude, because St. Jude realizes you guys are a lifeline for us.
Yeah, that's community outreach. I mean, more so than, and sure, like by the numbers, you can see that, of course, corporate donations trump the shit out of everything raised by the gamers, but that's not the point, because that's not community outreach.
That's right.
This is getting their name out there in, the youth of today.
Like,
it's on the lips of people who are on Twitch.
Are you going to see a CEO of Coke, for example, go and sit and play video games with a sick kid in a St. Jude hospital for an afternoon? Not a fucking chance.
Dude, screw that, because the kid would rather meet somebody like Duck Sauce or something than some asshat.
Yeah.
And they'd rather play games with the people that they watch, that they're interested in, their version of, celebrities or stars, or their idols, which thankfully are gamers now, which is just kind of cool.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna end off with this one. I'm not a big fan of Todd McFarlane. To me, he's a bit of a fucking asshat, right? But he's a smart businessman. And he recently made a deal, an open-ended closed-end deal with NetherRealm Studios for Spawn to show up in Mortal Kombat 10. Now, there's no defined date when he's going to show up, or for time period that he's going to be available in the game. It's just that one day Mortal Kombat will phone up Todd McFarlane and say, okay, we're going to use him, and then he's done. Now, you can be guaranteed Todd McFarlane made a nice bit of coin change off of that.
I'm sure.
I don't doubt it.
Because right now he's trying very hard to bring Spawn back into the entertainment culture with movies or television or comic books or whatever. He wants that Spawn character, because Spawn is a great character. Even if it was
he's a total badass.
Even if it was a shit movie.
I didn't care if it was a shit movie. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Oh, I did too. I've watched it a couple times since then, and I've loved it every time. It's a terrible movie, but it's fun as hell. But I would like to see a modern day interpretation of that character, like we've seen with other superheroes.
Oh, can you imagine if the team who's been doing a lot of these Marvel movies, like Joss Whedon, get his hands on this as a movie? Oh, I would need to bring an extra pair of pants to go to the theater.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh man.
Yeah. But what do you think about this idea of superheroes or supervillain. Like, I don't even know what you would call Spawn, the super demon.
Yeah,
you know,
super badass.
Super badass. There we go. Super badass works because he's right along the lines of Deadpool. What do you think about him showing up in something like Mortal Kombat? Because Mortal Kombat 10 apparently is bloody as fuck, violent as fuck.
As it damn well should be. I mean, because the two ends of the scale are Super Smash Brothers, Mortal Kombat, fighting games. They have always been totally opposite approaches to the same kind of idea. And like with Mortal Kombat, I think they might be trying to kind of bring some of that Smash Brothers magic to it by incorporating characters who are outside of the universe to give it a little bit of spice. And that's, I think, exactly what Mortal Kombat needs, because we've been playing with these same damn characters for the past 15 years. And, you know, some fresh blood in there is always good.
Yeah, I had a thought that, I know that Tekken, was it Tekken 4? They did console exclusive characters. I'm pretty sure it was the Soul Calibur. Because I remember there was
Soul Calibur. Because
Soul Calibur had one. Oh no, and Tekken did too, because they had. Wasn't.
No.
Yeah, see, I'm going nuts. You're right. This was. It was a Tekken character in the PS2 version. It was Heihachi in Soul Calibur.
Spawn was an Xbox exclusive fighter in Soul Calibur 2.
Yes. So this has been done before. And that's why I was trying to pinpoint in my brain. But for Mortal Kombat 10, and I've seen how brutal even some of the previous games are. I may not be a fighter, but I'm all for him going in that, because he would fit right in.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he would, because he's got, you know, the chains and the cape. Mm-hmm. It would be, that would be kind of interesting. All right, folks. We are coming to the end here. It's been a long night. We've gone over our usual time. We seem to be doing that a lot lately.
Good discussions.
Yeah, good discussions. But anyway, if you've enjoyed the show, please consider hitting the follow button if you haven't already. If you want to help support us, you know, with a bit of a donation, be more than willing to take that and use it to help make the show better, because like this stuff doesn't, you know, grow on trees. It costs money. But until tomorrow, this has been Late Night with Cranky and Friends. Myself, the Cranky Canuck, Red Mage, Dr. DeGaulle. I thank you all very much. I thank you two gentlemen for being here. And we will see you tomorrow, folks, 12 a.m. sharp, as always. But until then, two important words, folks. Two important words. Game on.